Hey creators, welcome to part 3 of the Essentials of YouTube series. You've started your adventure. Now you have a story to tell. But how? This is your show, RV Media Creators. I'm Garrett, and in this community, we will show you how. So let's show the world your story. In this video, we're going to cover how to edit your story into an exciting and fun video. Let's get started. So when we get into editing, you'll notice that the footage looks very familiar. And I was like, what better way to show you how to edit than by editing the footage I captured from our previous episode. I'm gonna walk through what I do to create a video. I'm not going to go into too many specific details on the specific editor I use, but I'm going to go over some very basic editing techniques that you can use on pretty much any editor that you have. Let's go. You'll see here that I have a lot of footage that looks very familiar. This looks like the intro, and then I have some of the other gear that I'm using. I have all my footage in files. Here, I have a file within my Essentials of YouTube, my RV Media Creators. I keep all of my files in folders. This is very helpful when you're editing on a desktop or a laptop because it allows you to organize everything into one place, so that when you go to create a video, you're not actually having to jump all over your computer. It is a little bit different for, people that edit on your phones. I'll create a separate video on tips to edit on an iPhone or an Android. A lot of these tips that I'm giving actually still do apply for those other kinds of programs. You want to make sure you just have everything organized so that you know right where it is and how to find it. Keep it simple, keep it straight to the point. Let's go back. Now that I have all of my bulk files together, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting it in the editor. You'll notice I got my first clip in. I'm gonna zoom in. Most editors have some kind of a zoom function, and let's watch this first section here. Hey creators, today I wanted to talk about your story. So how do you put together? You'll notice that I look down. I do have notes when I'm creating these videos. What I want to do is give my thoughts on the subject that we're talking about. I like to try and keep it as fluid as possible so that I'm not jumping back and forth and cutting up as much as I can. You want to keep it as unedited when you're talking as possible so that you're not being super jumpy. When you are creating your story and you're introing your story, feel free to write down what you want. Then when you are editing, give it a couple times, go over your thoughts, and then say them out loud. Do a couple takes until you feel comfortable saying those lines, and then you can really take just that one cut and use that as your intro, so you're not cutting up and making these really jerky type videos. Today I wanted to talk about your story. This is part 2 of a 4-part series on the Essentials of YouTube, and I just wanted to kind of go over again, I had a part where I needed to cut it out, so I'll go over to this next section here and see. Today let's talk about your story. Last week today I wanted to talk. You'll notice that it does take a while sometimes to get it right. Not that it really matters a whole lot. You want to be able to stay authentic. If it takes a couple times of you saying something so that it feels natural, go ahead and do that. You can always cut out the extra footage. Talk about your story. Last week we went over your channel, how to start a channel, how to get it going. Now let's talk about putting stories on that channel. I created my first cut, that little line, that little red icon on the screen is an X-Acto knife. Most editors have some kind of a cut function. With Final Cut Pro, you could kind of select the exact clip you want before you insert the footage into your timeline. I didn't really want to do that for this video because not all editors have that function, but all editors have the ability to take a video clip and put it into your timeline. And that's what this line is down here, is your timeline. I've made my first cut. Let's go back and see if I can make this look better. Last week we went over, okay. Today let's talk about your story. Hey creators, today I wanted to talk about your story. So all these times that I tried to say it, I'm not really too happy with those. So I went and I created cuts on both ends, and then I can select and delete that clip. And I put this together. Hey creators, today I wanted to talk about your story. Today let's talk about your story. Which one do you like better? Do you like that first one, hey creators, or do you like today I want to talk about your story? Find something that works and for you and that sounds good for you. I don't want to say my way's better or somebody else's way of introing is better. Find something that you feel comfortable with and that you can make your own. Today I wanted to talk about your story. Last week, this portion of it I don't really need. So now, hey creators, today I wanted to talk about your story. Last week we went over, that's a pretty decent intro. What I'm going to do, and I'll go over creating an intro for your channel on another video because it is pretty intensive. I'm going to go ahead and put in my intro for the channel and you'll get to see that here. Alright, now that I have it in the editor, I'm going to go ahead and just try it and see what it looks like. Story. You've started your adventure. Now you have a story to tell. But how? This is your show, Art for Media Creators. Let's see if I can trim that up just a little bit. Story. You start. No, don't mind that. What I've done is I separated the beginning of the video with kind of like a intro video for my channel. And then I can start getting into the content. What I like to do, and we do it on our other channel, is, hey, I'm Garrett, I'm Carolyn, we're Diary of a Family, we're intentionally living life with you. Boom. Once that intro is playing and done, we're like, today we're going to the Don Harrington Discovery Museum. What I want to do is make sure, introing the video, giving the premise of what is happening, and you don't necessarily have to have some kind of flashy intro. That's just what I'm doing. Once you have that done, explaining what we're doing. Hey, we're going on a hike. We're going to Palo Duro Canyon. We're doing this. Come join us. If you haven't already, go ahead and check that out. I had a blank spot here, so I'm going to cut that out. You want to try and cut out extra long pauses. And if you're going, yeah, okay, you know, those kind of meaningless words, you'll want to make sure that you either try as hard as you can not to say them, or you can just kind of edit them out. Let's continue on with the timeline. Now is the time you can start being creative. Now, this is another thing. I went and I started a thought and my brain kind of went somewhere else. Those are things that are perfectly fine to cut out. You want to keep it to the point, not super like quick, but get those thoughts that are cohesive together, that tell your story. Now is the time you can start being creative. Here are a few tips I have to help you tell your story. If you're wanting to up your video game as it is, I would highly suggest you find music. If you have a YouTube channel, you already have access to an entire YouTube library. I will go over that in another video on how to find free music and even find some paid subscription services that provide amazing music for you as well. I like to have music throughout a lot of my video. It keeps the mood upbeat, it keeps things moving, and when you're doing montages or you're videotaping yourself driving or something like that, it's much nicer to listen to very nice music than to just listen to the sound of your car driving in silence. That being said, I'm gonna pick another track to kind of come into the video so that we can kind of keep some nice upbeat music going while I tell this story. You want to keep mindful of the overall volume of your music. You don't want it overwhelming. I'd rather it be more on the quiet side than be overwhelming so that you understand what is being said. Are a few tips I have to help you tell your story. One of the biggest tip I can give you is to try and when you're dealing with music, depending on your editor, you might have a lot of flexibility or you might not have a lot on how you can use your music. With a lot of editors, you can literally grab the track and place it exactly where you need it to be. A lot of mobile apps don't give you as much flexibility, but there are ways around it. The biggest tip I can give you is to try and plan ahead. Whatever it might be, plan ahead. I've just edited down the first clip that I shot for this video. I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of the B-roll that I created, because there is a portion where I go over just some of the different gear you might need and making sure you have what you need before you start your adventure. Tripod, yeah. Extra batteries, absolutely. Tripod, yes. Now you'll notice that I have two different clips of kind of the same thing. What you'll want to do is figure out which one that you like better. Tripod, yeah. Do you like that one or? Tripod, yes. I'm thinking the second one is probably a better clip, so I'm going to move that one over and delete the second clip, because you don't need two clips saying the same thing. Let's see if we can make this portion a little bit smoother. GoPro, possibly. What I'm doing is I'm creating what's kind of like a montage so that we can talk about everything quickly. Instead of having these gaps where I'm grabbing things and stuff like that, it's going to be a little bit quicker. Like, oh, yep, got it. GoPro, possibly. Drone, no. Green screen, no. Tripod, yes. Extra batteries, absolutely. Now that I created that kind of compilation and I said, hey, make sure you know what you need for your video before you hit the road. Now it's time to hit the road. Now what we're gonna do is I'll put together a montage kind of with the music of the trip to the Discovery Center. The first thing you'll notice is that I have all the audio is still on. What I want to do is for most of these footages where I'm driving, I'm going to actually take my audio out. I don't want the audio in there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to boost the music that is playing so that it becomes the primary audio source. Let me create that real quick. And now that I have the audio corrected, here's kind of what it looks like. Exactly what you need, but don't bring too much. So you hear the music is kind of rhythmic and kind of flowing. The best way that I found is to try and find good points where the music changes to switch to different shots, so that you're not having a 40-second montage of you driving down the road when you could do the same effect in about 15 seconds. The road is pretty bumpy. I'm gonna actually take that part out, and then I'm gonna slow it down. Slowing down also provides a nice dramatic effect. So I found a nice point to cut it. Let's see how that one looks. Slowing down. It does take a little practice with your editor, so be patient. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you have any questions, make sure to put it in the comments below. You can also email me at rvmediacreators@gmail.com. See you guys in another video.